What is this highly anticipated Bitcoin halving event all about? And why should we be preparing for it now rather than later? Could we be in the final months before a Bitcoin price explosion, before reaching new all-time highs, past the previous $67,000 price point? Well, there are 3 key concepts about Bitcoin in the Bitcoin network we need to quickly go over so we all have a better understanding of what the Bitcoin halving is, why it happens, and how it has historically affected the price, so we can be prepared for the next halving taking place in early 2024. Concept 1. The Bitcoin blockchain. The Bitcoin blockchain is basically a live running record of all Bitcoin transactions. As I've explained in previous video guides for beginners, the simplest way to understand what blockchain means is by separating the word block from the word chain. So imagine records of individual transactions like payments sent to or from one person to another, getting listed or indexed one after the other. And once a certain amount of transactions in the list has been reached, a block is formed. This is because each block has a maximum amount of transaction data it can store, which works out to a new block of Bitcoin transactions being created every 10 minutes or so. So once the maximum amount of transaction data for a block has been met, the block is added behind a previous block of transactions. Now we can imagine these blocks of transaction records linked together similar to a chain. So blockchain is simply groups of transaction data that are linked together. And the basic structure of the Bitcoin blockchain consists of a network of computers around the world with Bitcoin software installed on them. And when Bitcoin transactions occur, the data is spread around this network of computers that validate the transaction, add the transaction to their copy of the running ledger of Bitcoin transactions, and then broadcast the new version of the ledger with the new transactions to the other computers on the network. And if you want a more in-depth explanation about what blockchain is and why it was developed, check out this video guide for beginners by clicking on the link above. Cool. Concept 2. Bitcoin mining. Bitcoin mining is the process that computers on the blockchain network use to verify new transactions to ensure the accuracy, immutability, and ultimately the security of the entire network. These computers are called miners, and the mining process requires miners to follow a proof-of-work consensus protocol, where computer processing power is used to solve and create cryptographic hashes, which link blocks of transactions together. So new blocks of transactions have a unique hash from the previous block, and to get published to the ledger, it requires the creation of another unique hash, which will go through a validation process and then get passed on to the next block, and so on and so forth. To create a new hash for the block of transactions, miners compete with each other, using computer power to try to be the first one to come up with the hash. So without getting too technical with details of the mining process, the basic concept we need to know to understand the Bitcoin halving event is that miners are rewarded with Bitcoin each time they verify a new block of transactions. And mining rewards are a combination of 1, newly minted Bitcoin that were not previously in circulation, and 2, transaction fees of Bitcoin that were already in circulation. So these rewards are in place to incentivize miners to participate in the mining process to ensure the Bitcoin network continues to be audited and essentially maintained. And if you're interested in becoming a Bitcoin miner, we've got a special solution that allows beginners and newbies alike to start mining quickly and easily. So stick around until the end to learn more. Sweet. And finally, concept 3, the Bitcoin supply. The more we learn about Bitcoin, the more similarities we see between Bitcoin and gold. This is because Satoshi Nakamoto, the unknown person or group of people who created Bitcoin, developed the digital currency to intentionally harbor characteristics of the precious metal gold. We recognize this in the Bitcoin mining process we previously discussed. Prospecting for new gold deposits, building out a mine, and operating a mine to extract gold is laborious, similar to the immense computing power required by Bitcoin miners to perform guesswork to create new unique hashes to validate new blocks of transactions. Another gold-like characteristic Satoshi programmed into Bitcoin is a maximum supply. So the total amount of Bitcoin that can ever exist is 21 million units. This 21 million unit maximum was established to mirror gold's stable inflation rate. One way to understand this concept is to consider in the future when new gold prospects become extremely rare and mining costs of new prospects increase until it becomes too expensive to mine new gold. So as a result, the fixed supply of pre-mined gold increases in value over time, since new gold cannot be created. So this is the same idea with Bitcoin, because over time with a fixed supply and steady or increased demand, the value of Bitcoin over time will increase instead of decrease. In the traditional context of inflation, Bitcoin is slightly and predictably inflationary because the supply of Bitcoin is increasing as miners mint new Bitcoin through validating new blocks of transactions, which will continue until the maximum supply is reached, which will drop its inflation rate to 0. At the time of this video, around 19.3 million Bitcoin are currently in circulation of the 21 million total supply. And according to its current track, the last Bitcoin will be mined in the year 2140, which is about 117 years from now. So in our lifetimes, the supply of Bitcoin will continue to increase, therefore be slightly inflationary. Awesome. Now that we understand what the Bitcoin blockchain is, Bitcoin mining, and the Bitcoin supply, let's learn about the Bitcoin halving. Hello, I'm Crypto Casey, and in this video, let's explore what the Bitcoin halving is, why halvings take place, and what implications halvings have on the future of Bitcoin. Let's hit it. Please be sure to check out our sponsors, NordVPN, 1inch, and Heatbit. Protect your data privacy and crypto investments by using virtual private network services with NordVPN that also ensure we can access decentralized exchanges to trade altcoins, like 1inch, a decentralized exchange with the best rates that easily allow us to buy any and all altcoins that exist on multiple networks, like Ethereum, Binance Chain, Arbitrum, Polygon, and more, that are not listed and supported on centralized exchanges, and passively invest in Bitcoin while warming and purifying the air in your home or office with Heatbit Mini, a space heater that is also an easy-to-use Bitcoin mining rig, which we can pre-order their latest model at a 60% discount using the link below. So be sure to scroll down and use the links below to access the correct and official sites, as well as redeem any special offers they have for us. Sweet. What is the Bitcoin halving? The Bitcoin halving refers to a reduction in Bitcoin block rewards issued to miners by half. At the time of this video, the block reward for miners is 6.25 newly minted Bitcoin that were not previously in circulation. And when the next halving occurs in early 2024, the block reward will halve or decrease by half, which will give miners 3.125 of newly minted Bitcoin per validated block. Bitcoin halvings are programmed into the protocol to occur every 210,000th block. So since a new block of transactions is completed roughly every 10 minutes, this works out to an average Bitcoin halving event every 4 years, with the most recent one occurring back in May of 2020. When Bitcoin was first developed in 2009, the block reward was 50 Bitcoin per block. Then in 2012, the first halving event reduced the block reward to 25 Bitcoin. And in 2016, the second halving reduced the block reward to 12.5 Bitcoin. And in 2020, the block reward reduced to 6.25 Bitcoin, what it is currently. Amazing. So why do Bitcoin halvings occur? Well, Satoshi Nakamoto programmed the halving of newly minted Bitcoin every 210,000 blocks to prevent inflation from decreasing the purchasing power of Bitcoin. And Satoshi also factored in the increase of technological advancement over time into Bitcoin's algorithm. So the faster new blocks are validated, the more difficult creating unique hashes for new blocks becomes. So having the amount of newly minted Bitcoin in segments controls the rate at which the finite or fixed supply of Bitcoin is titrated into circulation over time. At the current block reward of 6.25 Bitcoin per block, which occurs roughly every 10 minutes, about 900 new Bitcoin are minted daily, making the inflation rate about 1.8% annually, which means Bitcoin is much less inflationary than the US dollar. Similar to gold, this creates a predictable and constantly decreasing inflation rate that, unlike gold, will eventually reach 0%. Nice. So what are the implications of Bitcoin halving events? Well, gold has been considered one of the best stores of value because of its limited supply and difficulty to produce, making it scarce. And when comparing this to Bitcoin's fixed supply imposed by its algorithm, Bitcoin was actually designed to be scarcer than gold. So if demand remains steady or increases for the fixed scarce supply of Bitcoin, which has been on the rise during these unprecedented macroeconomic times, the price of Bitcoin will more than likely experience positive long-term effects. And after the halving in early 2024, the supply of Bitcoin will become even scarcer. So let's explore what has happened to Bitcoin's price following halving events. Back in November 2012, when the first Bitcoin halving occurred, Bitcoin was around $11. Then 1 year later, in 2013, Bitcoin spiked to around $1,100, the highest Bitcoin had ever been at that time, before dropping down to around $220 and remaining under $1,000 for the next few years. Then, in July 2016, when the second halving occurred, Bitcoin was around $600, and about 18 months later, near the end of 2017, it spiked to $20,000, before dropping down to around $8,000 and even $3,000 during 2019. Now, the most recent halving event happened in May of 2020, in the midst of some unusual times due to the pandemic. So Bitcoin was about $8,000 when the halving occurred, and then about 1 year later, in April 2021, hit $63,000, and then its ultimate all-time high in December 2021 of around $69,000, before dropping back down to around $40,000 and then below $20,000. So, historically, the months immediately following a halving event, Bitcoin pricing didn't show much movement. It usually started heating up around 12 to 18 months after a halving. However, it's not quite clear that the spikes in prices 12 to 18 months after the halving events actually correlate exclusively with the halving. Because although the first Bitcoin price spike to $1,100 happened about 12 months after the halving event, also around that time, it seemed to correlate with the Cyprus bailout. And although the second Bitcoin price spike to $20,000 happened 18 months after the halving took place, it also seemed to be caused by market manipulation, as cryptocurrency was starting to be featured in mainstream media, attracting attention from more people than usual. And although the third Bitcoin price spike to its all-time high happened between 12 and 18 months after the halving, it also seemed to correlate with the unprecedented amount of money printing going on during the pandemic, where lots of money was thrown into lots of speculative things like cryptocurrencies and meme stocks. So what does the historical data tell us about the upcoming halving event in 2024? Well, Bitcoin became pretty popular around the 2020 halving, and since then has been exploding in adoption. But is it possible that the market has already priced in the 2024 halving? There is a bit and will be a lot of hype around the Bitcoin 2024 halving event. So a couple scenarios could play out. One, leading up to the halving, we see a spike in price, followed by a significant drop due to a lot of people thinking something magical is going to happen immediately following the halving. Or two, depending on what happens between now and then on a macro level, other forces could cause Bitcoin to spike or drop before or after the halving as well. At the end of the day, my random wild guess is that these 12 months leading up to the next halving will be one of our last chances to accumulate Bitcoin at price points under its all-time high. Again, just my random wild guess. So there is a lot of room for opposing theories, opinions, and predictions about the future of Bitcoin's price with the upcoming 2024 halving and the years following. So let me know your random wild guess in the comments below. It's important for all of us to do our own research, draw our own conclusions, and create our own investment strategy around the impending 2024 Bitcoin halving, while also considering its extremely important election year for the United States, among other things that could transpire between now and then. Because there have been so many changes to the macro environment since the pandemic, and that coupled with several different disruptive, innovative technologies maturing and about to experience exponential growth like AI and blockchain technology, that a fresh new look and approach needs to be taken as long-term investors. So over the next several months and years, we will explore new strategies together, including new ideas for generating passive income, like with this awesome new product coming out, the Heatbit Mini. The Heatbit Mini is Heatbit's second electric space heater that is actually 3 high-end devices under one stylish hood. It's a space heater, an air purifier, and an easy-to-use Bitcoin miner. Similar to how our computers generate heat when performing intense tasks, mining Bitcoin creates warmth that the Heatbit Mini uses to heat our indoor office or home space. Heatbit Mini's powerful processes perform trillions of complex calculations to verify and produce blocks of Bitcoin transactions, which in turn earn you Bitcoin in the form of mining rewards. All the while, with its advanced HEPA and carbon filters, Heatbit Mini eliminates dust, smoke, pet fur, and allergens, putting out clean, fresh air. And at full power, it creates less than 40 decibels of noise, making it comfortably quiet. With its beginner-friendly and easy-to-use mobile app, we can set the temperature, control energy uses, and cash out our Bitcoin earnings to our own Bitcoin wallets. So the Heatbit Mini can actually cover the cost of our electricity bills and definitely make us more money than any regular heater. So for a limited time, using the link below, we can redeem their early bird offer and pre-order a Heatbit Mini for up to 60% off the retail price, while also being the first to receive the device in Q4 of this year, all with a money-back guarantee. There have already been a ton of great reviews about their first Heatbit heater, which if we don't want to wait, we can buy right now for a 5% discount using the link below. So be sure to scroll down and use the links below to redeem Heatbit's offer for our community to secure your new Bitcoin mining space heater and air purifier today. Awesome. So if you would like to finally have that eureka moment about how cryptocurrency wallets, seed phrases, and private keys work, check out this video. If you would like to understand how Bitcoin works and why its revolutionary technology can help us maintain power over some of our wealth, check out this video. And to get your Heatbit Mini at a 60% discount, use the link on the screen. Like and subscribe for more. Be safe out there.